Calaroga Shark Media.
Hello there, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news right into the holiday weekend. Craig Robinson, you know him from The Office, he announced he's stepping away from comedy to pursue, quote, something bigger. He uploaded a clip to social media saying, "Hey everybody, just wanted you to hear it from me. I'm quitting comedy, but not for nothing. It's been an amazing run and y'all have been amazing and wonderful, but I'm following something bigger. So thank you so much. I love you and stay tuned." In a caption alongside the reel, he wrote, "Life update. I'm officially quitting comedy to focus on my true calling. Stay tuned. I'm working on something huge." On Instagram, he posted, "Hey guys, big shout out to all my small business owners. Hey, you guys got any advice for me while I'm trying to get my business afloat? I hit a few bumps in the road and I sure would appreciate your guys' tips. Thank you." So we'll see. Is this for real? Is it a marketing stunt? Is he promoting something? I'm not sure if you were promoting something, you would do it into July 4th weekend, but then again, I am talking about it. The folks at the Berkshire Eagle went to see John Mulaney's current tour. That tour called Mr. Whatever. Some spoilers here if you're planning on seeing Mulaney. The Berkshire Eagle writes, "There's still the classic affable Mulaney, of course. His flashing eyes and expressive face still accentuated every joke. His roster of impressions, including a raccoon and the president, still shimmered, especially an affected Boston accent that evoked my own grandmother. His physicality still stalked the stage, from kicking down a door and looking up to a would-be kidnapper to rising up from a bed like something out of The Exorcist. But there was a tinge of cruelty now in some of his jokes. They still went down easy, but more than a few deliciously burned the back of my throat. Maybe it was always there in the kid who tortured a diner with Tom Jones, but out in the open it felt subversive and exciting. Take his cathartic, ultra-personal teardown of Jeff Bezos, or his Shark Tank pitch for a service to beat up the elderly abusive dads that made us feel like we were in a group with him. Less successful was that Exorcist routine, a bit too long and a bit too reliant on the gimmick of a sweary Lucifer, but prefaced as it was with a trigger warning and representing such a stark, shocky departure, I wondered where the awkwardness was the point." Mulaney said, "I've tried to explain to your parents that I'm not that good of a guy, but they won't listen. Mr. Whatever felt unfinished. Loose themes of age and family recurred, but there was no central theme as in his past shows. Some anecdotes, like seeing an aging Frank Sinatra on that steamboat, cried out for more smoldering detail. Often Mulaney dangled a punchline so temptingly that we knew it, but still found a way to dodge expectations. Seeing an early show of this tour, it seemed that whole sections lives accordingly to this principle, just waiting for him to make the connections." All right, that's totally fair. If it's early in a tour, he's working on a new hour. Sounds like it was a good show. I saw on Threads, somebody put this in my thought, and the next time I attempt to break out a half-ass impression of John Mulaney, I think this is the key. Somebody said they can't unhear on the B-52's record Love Shack that Fred Schneider sounds like John Mulaney. And I'm like, oh, yes. And now I can't unhear that because I keep thinking, I've got me a car, it's as big as a whale, right? Yeah, that might be the way into a half-assed John Mulaney. John Marcus Aresi does a pretty good one when he was a guest on this show. He broke that out and he kind of did a very good Mulaney. Taylor Tomlinson spoke to Evoke Ireland. She explained part of giving up, what was it called? Holiday weekend, brain not working. After Midnight is what it was called, right? She said, "It's a tough schedule to film a TV show Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and get on a plane Thursday morning and go to different cities to do stand-up and then fly back Sunday night and go back to the lot on Monday. So it's just a schedule that felt unsustainable to me. It was a great experience. The team that I got to work with was just exceptional. Everybody was so good at their job. And I met some really, really lovely people, but I didn't think I could keep doing the show and stand-up. There have been so many great moments, but something had to give." I understand that. Early in my career, I was working at the radio station daytime and on a TV show at night. And the TV show money was good, but I had a new house and a new wife and a pool. And I was getting home at 10 p.m. exhausted. And I was like, it's just not worth the extra money. I'm not enjoying my life. Taylor said with the schedule, it made it very difficult to date because all day, every day is just hanging out with the most successful comedians and them making me laugh. She has now decided to prioritize stand-up and said, "I've been doing this for half my life, and as soon as I started doing stand-up, I was like, oh, this is what I want to do, this is who I want to be, and this is where I want to be." When I took the TV job, it was very clear. I always said stand-up is my first priority, and as long as I can do both, I'll do both. But if anything interferes with stand-up too much, I have to prioritize stand-up. New topic in the same interview. Taylor always makes sure she checks with her family before making a joke about them. She says, "You don't have to, but I do. I think it's the polite thing to do. I don't think it's worth ruining a relationship just for a couple punchlines. I try to run jokes past people first, my friends, family, etc." Jimmy O Yang partnered with Hong Kong Tourism to tell good stories of Hong Kong. He shared a video on social media featuring some of Hong Kong's most iconic tourist attractions. It showed him trying Chinese barbecue pork at a local restaurant, visiting the Man Mo Temple in Shangwan, going to a cocktail bar, and riding the cable car on Lantau Island to see the Big Buddha. Jimmy speaks both English and Cantonese in the clip and says, "That's why you gotta love Hong Kong, man. All in one place. We saw the mountain, the ocean, the Buddha. We ate the best barbecue." Kamau Bell's new show is called Who's With Me? He caught up with KUOW. Bell said, "I feel like my assignment is to be clear about who I am, what I believe, and then ask, are you with me or you're not with me? If you're with me, yay. If you're not with me, fine. Then go be over there. Let me be clear. I'm team world peace all day long. But the type of comedian I am, there's no shortage of things to talk about. So in that sense, there's a lot of grist for the mill, but I wish the mill didn't have so much grist. My audience is automatically more conservative than people realize because I was on CNN for 7 years, and despite what people think, CNN is not a left-leaning political network. It's maybe middle-of-the-road, maybe center-right network. I hear people all the time say, I don't agree with everything you say, but I've learned a lot. I really appreciate the way you talk about this stuff. I don't have any issue talking to those people on an individual one-on-one basis. It's when they get into their team sport bag of like, the president is my avatar. That's what it becomes like, I really can't talk to you right now. To me, there were a lot of people who've realized I'm not a Democrat, but I'm not what this is, and I can talk to those people. On Gossip Corner, we found out why Adam Sandler was over at Montclair High School. He's filming a movie. An actor who declined to be named said she was playing a teacher in Untitled Roommates Project. A casting call production sheet was seeking actors to portray students through August 12th. Untitled Roommates Project is a Netflix production by Adam Sandler's Happy Madison Productions. A young man who's 13 years old, so I won't give his name, had watched the filming from behind a fence and said, I see this graduation that's going on. It looks like they put a load of effort into it. It looks really nice. All the clothes, the suits that everyone's wearing, the uniforms. Another young man, also 13, said, I've seen him playing basketball just down the street. Happy Gilmore 2 is on Netflix July 25th. Speaking of Adam Sandler, Hey Alma caught up with Josh Gondelman, who asked Josh, what are your top 3 Adam Sandler films? Now, if he's smart, Josh Gondelman said Uncut Gems, The Basketball One, and, I don't know, say 50 First Dates. Those would be the top 3 if you're correct here. But Josh Gondelman said, oh, this is such a good question. I got to have Josh on. We got to fight this out. I think Punch Drunk Love for the One Dramatic Movie. I think Happy Gilmore is in the top 3. Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison occupy a similar space in my heart. Mine too, just not the same as yours, Josh Gondelman. I'm trying to think of another era of Sandler I'd like to represent. Hold on, I'm going to pull up his IMDb. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit off the menu. I'm going to go with his first Netflix special, 100% Fresh. I'm also going to give a shout out to his albums. My friend and I had his comedy albums when we were way too young and they were so dirty. We'd seen the movies, which were PG-13 and him on SNL, and we got these filthy comedy albums. My friends and I were like probably 10 to 12 years old and would have to listen to them in the woods on a boombox, so no grown-ups would hear them. And one by one, all my friends who had bought them or received them as gifts had them confiscated by parents because they were so dirty. It was like an extremely formative comedy part of my youth. Yes, Adam Sandler comedy targeted at 10-year-olds. Exactly. The Cheerful, Earful Comedy Podcast Festival returns this October. They're expanding it. It's going to be 3 cities across 3 continents. It is now in its 4th year. The 15-day festival will host over 50 live shows in London, Melbourne, and New York City. Now, out of those 3 locations, if you said, John, do you want to go to this? I'd be like, I do want to go to it. Do you want to go to the one in New York City? No, I hate traveling to New York City. It's a pain in the neck. It's actually easier to get to London because I drive to Newark Airport and get on a plane. You want me to cross the Hudson River? Are you insane? As much as I'd like to go to London, I'd really like to go to Melbourne. What a great city that is. I had a great time there. So I will rank them Melbourne, London, New York City, but I digress. In London, the Bedford is the festival hub. In New York City, the Caveat, and in Melbourne, Stupid Old Studios. And that is your comedy news for today. If you enjoy the program, please tell a friend about it. They might like it too. If you would like the program without commercials or feed drops, as a way to do that, you can subscribe to Calaroga Plus. If you're on Apple Podcasts, click that banner that says Uninterrupted Listening. For $5 a month, you'll get this show, 5 Good News Stories, which I also host, and a bunch of others on the network, all commercial-free. This Sunday, we've got Crown and Controversy coming out. That is a spin-off to our Palace Intrigue podcast, Season 1 of Crown and Controversy. We'll take a look at the courtship of Kate Middleton and Prince William. If you're not on Apple Podcasts, link in the show notes, calaroga.com/plus. And that's your comedy news for today. See you tomorrow. And now stick around for this interview.
Our sister, I'm going to bring forward yours and give it to you now. And he said, "Oh, wow, that's great. Thank you. That's so generous of you, Carl. That's great." But his wife, my sister-in-law, went ballistic. She said, "This is too much money. This is wrong. I don't want anything to do with it," and stormed out of the room. And I thought, well, that's not what I expected. Oh, my God. So I realized from that this was not an easy thing to do. So I learned a lesson from that, and I knew that I had to do this authentically. I had to do it right. Otherwise, it was not going to work. So that happened. And then the third thing that happened was that I was looking at my financial statements, and I had more money there than I was really using. It was sitting there. I mean, it was growing, making profits and so forth, but it wasn't being used. I wasn't using it for me. I wasn't using it for things that I really cared about, not for my people. So I thought, well, if I have all this money now, why should I wait until I die? Why don't I bring it forward? And then, it was a long process for me to come around to that, but that's what finally started this. And I said, well, I'll do it now.
Let's back up just a bit. Tell us a little bit about your new book. What is The Happiness Experiment?
Well, this is a recording of the real events with real people who I decided that I would bring forward the inheritance, the money I had for them in my will, and made it a prequest. So it was a chunk of money that they were going to get while they were still young enough to enjoy it, and I was still alive to see it happening. So I saw what they were doing. So when I sat down with them, I talked about money and happiness and how one can connect. And I said, look, I'm going to bring this forward and give it to you. But what I want from you is a plan so that you use this money. So it's really a big benefit for you. I don't want this to overwhelm you. And they said, what kind of plan? I said, I want a happiness plan. And they said, a happiness plan? What's that? So nobody seems to have a happiness plan. But it's one of the most important plans you can get. And it doesn't have to be very complex. What is it that makes you happy? What values do you want to pursue? What goals and dreams do you have? And you can pursue them. And so I got them to write a happiness plan. And then when I saw the plan, I gave them all the money all at one time. And so then they took it, and I watched them with their plan. I saw all their plans, what they did, and how they became happier. And so, that had to be written about. So, because I wanted other people to see what they did so that they too could do the same thing.
Which prequest is the most unique one you've come across?
Well, it was a very, very painful and sad story because two dear friends of mine had a beloved daughter, and she was hit head on by a drunk driver and killed. She happened to be 8 months pregnant at the time, so that killed the granddaughter too, and also their daughter. They were totally, totally wiped out, devastated, and they died emotionally. They had decided that they could never be happy again, that it would be wrong to be happy. They didn't deserve to be happy because their darling daughter had been killed. Tremendously painful, awful, awful story. So they were grieving 6 years later. And I met with them, and I told them how much they had added to my life and how much I was so grateful to them and that I wanted to express the gratitude. And I put them in my will, and they could accept that. And I said, but I want you to have it now. And they said, oh, no, we can't accept it. They turned it down. Well, we worked. I said, look, I'm leaving it open. So several months later, I think his wife persuaded him to do it, actually, so they said, okay, we'll do it because if we're going to wait until you die, why not do it now? And they did it. And it wasn't the money, interestingly enough. They said it was the coaching that made the big difference. That changed their mindset from being so negative. We'll never be happy again. We don't deserve to be happy. And the coach turned their thinking, their mindset around and said, look, you can be happy again. And they started to get the mindset of happy people. And now you cannot believe what these people, they're traveling all over the world. They're in Tahiti right now. They climbed Kilimanjaro. These people are loving life. And it was a major change. That is one of the most heartfelt, wonderful results of the and in a sense, she said, the wife said, this prequest saved my life because we were no longer living. We were dead. And this brought us back to life.
Yeah, I mean, dealing with grief, and many of us I have, when you're in those depths, it can be really difficult to find your way out of it. And, often it looks like there isn't a way out of it. And, sometimes you want a map, right? And it looks like this concept could be a good map for you if you're that. It sounds like it was for these folks. I always like to end interviews by asking, is there anything that I didn't ask that I should have?
How can my listeners benefit from this book? What should they do? What would be good for them? And so I'll answer that question. First off, think about happiness. Think about being happiness. You deserve to be happy, and you can be happy, but you have to make it as a choice. I'm going to increase my happiness. Just that, if you make that realistically, I want to, and I'm going to increase my happiness, that choice, and then talk to people about it. Talk to a husband or wife or a girlfriend or a friend, a therapist or coach. Talk to somebody about it and say, look, I made the decision that I want to be happier, and I'd like you to help me create a happiness plan. And then work on it. And it's not that hard, but it is challenging, but it's a wonderful exercise. And if they do it, I guarantee they will increase their happiness. I guarantee it.
Carl Barney is the author, and the book is called The Happiness Experiment, A Revolutionary Way to Increase Happiness. Carl, where can people find the book?
Wherever books are sold, and it's now available for pre-order from Amazon, and they can go to thehappinessexperiment.com, and they can pre-order it there, and I hope they will.
Carl, thanks so much for the time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. It's been fun.